Welcome back and welcome to lesson 2. In this lesson, we're going to talk about variables. Now, variables in Python are created with what's called an assignment statement. So, there's no need though to assign any kind of data type if you've ever used any other kind of programs. If you haven't used any other kind of programs, at this point you won't really need to worry what a data type is. So in Python, a variable is a word that you make up all by yourself and that word is going to equal whatever value you want to put in it. So say if I wanted to have a room number in there, I would make up room. That's going to be my variable. And I have to give it a value, so my room is going to equal 503. So that's going to be what my room number is. Okay, and then I'm just going to put a quick comment in here. And when you're programming, you don't want to put comments on every single line, but if you want to put a comment just to make sure that you're clarifying whatever it is that you're doing, then that can be very important. What we're doing here is pretty obvious, but I'm still going to write down a few things here. Okay, so room equals 503, and it's going to be stored as an integer data type because we didn't tell it has to be anything different. So room 503. Now if I want to print that variable, this is what I'm going to do. Now first of all, which command is it that we print again? Oh, yeah, right there, right? It's right up there at the top, isn't it? So print, there's that print statement again, and it turns that pretty color, so we know that we're using a command. And I'm going to say, in quotes, because this is what I want the user to see, I am staying in room number, I should spell it correctly, quote, comma, and then I put the word room, okay? Because room is the variable, and while we're doing this, if we print this statement and we just put room and say the room number changes to 506, then later it's going to show 506 instead of 503. So this is why we use variables, because when we put a variable in there, we're just basically saying this is what we want to name whatever input that we're going to keep in this value. And every time we want to call that value or bring that value up, we're going to use that variable again. Now it's very, 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 very important that you keep track of your variables, because if I misspell room, it's not going to come up correctly. Let me misspell it on purpose just to show you what I'm talking about. So now that I've done my print statement and I've put room in here, remember we have to save it first. So there we go. Now if you do run it though and you haven't saved it, it will pop up and it will say, do you want to save it first? And you can just click yes and go from there. So now I'm going to click the run statement, run the module, and as you can see, trace back all these blah blah things in here, woo! But it shows right there is my mistake. Okay, and it says name error, name room is not defined, because you have to declare your variables in the beginning, and if you don't define them, then they're not going to run. So if I take this E out and I have print, I am staying in room number, what I want the user to see has to be in quotes. This is what is called a string value, which we'll talk about later. And then because variable is not to be included in string because it is a variable and it's got a value already in it, we put a comma and then we put the variable. So now I'm going to save it again. Oh, I was going to show you. Let me run it. So see, if you try to run it without saving it, it will at least say, hey, you know, do you want to save this before you run or check the program? Is it okay to save? And I'm going to click OK. And now you see I am staying in room number 503. And apparently I told the whole world that I'm staying in room number 503. Okay, so that is the end of lesson number 2. Thank you for playing. Talk to you later.